All right, welcome back to the Jo Ellis Effect. I am your host, Jo Ellis. Today's episode is brought to you by Hill Country Fair Drinking Water. Yes, that's right. I am drinking water. It's rare for me. Usually it's diet soda or coffee or alcohol, but today, water. Lots of fun updates for you all. First off, we've got a really cool story here I want to jump right into. I had posted on my last podcast about basically defending Tony Hinchcliffe and Kill Tony, saying that it's a very diverse show and given trans comics more opportunities than anyone else, specifically calling out Chelsea Handler and Mark Maron, who have criticized Tony and the Rogansphere for not being inclusive. Meanwhile, they've had me on their stuff many times, but when it comes to Chelsea and Mark, I've never seen them have a trans comedian on their number one podcasts, and that's probably because they don't have a number one podcast. Now, I respect Mark and Chelsea individually and as professionals when it comes to the work that they do, but I feel like it's a bad take. Anyway, I made a video about that, clipped it up, posted it as a reel, and Robert Kelly reached out about that and said that, it's he takes note for those who defend Tony, especially me being a trans comic and stuff. And I said, funny, I actually have tickets to see you at the Mothership in a couple weeks because he came for July 4th weekend. And so I ended up going and sitting in the front row, as I like to do, with a friend. And we sat there and we had a great time. Afterwards, he messaged me and we caught up at a bar down the street. And we just kind of chatted for a few minutes. It was actually really cool. It was really cool in a lot of ways because that stuff has kind of been happening a lot lately. Is like, it happened with Christina P. It happens with other comedians that I go to see. Like, they realize who I am or they realize I'm trans and then they want to like chat. It was really cool that Robert did this because, and I told him I had to gush for a little bit because my like gateway into comedy was like the Dane Cook Vicious Circle era. And I remember, of course, Robert Kelly and Tourgasm and touring with Dane and just that whole world back then being really exciting. And that's actually what got me into other stand-up. So from there, from like Dane and Robert Kelly, I went on to find Daniel Tosh and early John Mulaney, Bill Burr, Louis C.K., of course, was hitting his strides in the 06, 07, 08 era. So many comedians, Jim Gaffigan, like all of those from back then. Eventually to Tom Segura and just, the whole world of comedians that I loved and enjoyed for years. So it was really cool to meet someone that was instrumental in like me being turned on to comedy at a younger age in my teenage years. And anyway, I thought that was wild that he wanted to come down and just hang out with us we were at the Dead Rabbit off of 6th Street. We were just having a drink afterwards, or me and my friend were. And so he came down and sat with us and just chatted with us for like 20 minutes, which really cool. He decided, or I guess a couple days later, he went home after the weekend and he went ahead and talked about me on the Bonfire with Big Jay Oakerson. Now, to set this up a little bit, I've got a history with Big Jay, as in just getting crowd worked by him in the audience. And so he kind of knew of me. He had also given me a shout out on Legion of Skanks, one of their Monday night hangs or whatever that they do on Gas Digital. And they had brought me up and talked about me, and Dave Smith recalled, oh yeah, this is the person that was in that article that they covered, me being down there. And then the reporter happened to sit next to me, Joe, and the reporter wrote about me being a fan of comedy down there and of Dave Smith, and also trying to make my way into the world with Kill Tony appearances and doing stand-up myself. So Big J was kind of familiar with me already, and so when they talked about me in the show, it was really cool banter. I'm not going to keep trying to describe it or set it up. I'm just going to play it and react to it, and we'll see what you all think. Let's see. So this was on July 7th episode of The Bonfire on SiriusXM. I used to work for someone who has a show on SiriusXM, so it was kind of neat. I still have a subscription, so I was able to listen to it pretty quick. I think eventually it got released as a podcast too. I haven't found it on YouTube yet. I don't know if they'll release a video. So I'm just going to play the audio and go from there.
I don't know, man.
Monster hog and sick tits.
I did run into a transsexual comic that you know.
Jo Ellis.
I think so, yeah.
Jo Ellis?
Yeah, really cool.
She's great.
Yeah, she's very fun.
I have a bit on stage I'm doing about a story, about the story she told me.
She was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot.
Oh.
And then became trans. And
Which
then,
was, but so when she did it, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like she was still allowed to be a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. And then Trump switched the rule that don't ask, don't tell was flipped. So now she got kicked out of the military.
Yeah.
No pension or anything. It's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's no, you can't get grandmothered in.
I think it's Grand Themin.
Oh, yeah. Jo Ellis. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she was in the front row with a guy, and I really wanted to fuck with her or talk to her, but I didn't know. And Jay said, I didn't know if the guy knew. And you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, hey, I fucking. Right. He'd be like, what? I'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
then,
that guy knew.
That guy knew. In hindsight,
they always know.
He knows.
Unless we're in Thailand or something, you're gonna have an inkling.
Yeah.
You're gonna have an
she was a foot and a half tall. Them sitting down.
She's actually been a big. I think she's been a big help for Tony too, with the kind of hatred that he gets and stuff coming at him. Like she really comes out and says like he's been great.
Right.
That's why I found her. I found her defending Tony and the actual show itself, talking about how diverse it really is in a person.
She's cool and like a legit fan of comedy. And as a comic, she's doing comedy also, but like she's a legit fan of it, which is great.
But she was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot.
That's wild.
It's crazy. Now she has great cans.
Yeah.
I didn't see him, but I saw the cleavage. Unless she's mushing that chest together.
Would you suck her mussy?
No, I would not suck her mussy. I don't think so. I think I'd have to start off a little smaller than that. I'd have to start. Well, if you scroll, I talked to her after the show. Really, she's really cool. But if you scroll through her page, if you scroll through the Instagram page, she has very beautiful photos of her.
Of course.
But then she has one where she's the helicopter pilot and now her now.
Are you talking about her dick swinging between her legs, the helicopter?
Yeah. She got into some light puppetry of the penis when she got back from Fallujah.
Oh, on Instagram. So it's like
she suck her mussy.
She was definitely a dude. I mean, the uniform page. You're like, holy shit. And then
scroll
she's
all
beautiful.
the way down.
Yeah, keep scrolling. It's on Instagram. If you scroll,
How deep of a dive have you done in their
I
profile?
dive deep, dude. I always dive deep.
Here we go, all the way back.
We go back, dude. If you ever see a trans girl on Instagram, you got to scroll down to where it happened. You got to see the transition. Why bother?
She stayed partying with Jason Ellis.
Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah, keep going. There it
Ellis
is. There, you passed it. Scroll up.
Jason
right
Ellis.
there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow is right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I tried to fuck that guy. Before the surgery, I mean. Then you find out, he goes, I was a gay guy who was really into that guy. Oh, now it's a chick? Yick.
Yeah, that is definitely a trans.
Jo Ellis is great, though. Unoffendable, super sweet, like gets comedy, doing comedy now. She's awesome.
Yeah, apparently she was yelling stuff out during my show. She wanted me to fuck with her, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to fuck things up or offend her. I was talking about some dude. I go, I can bet you got a big dick, and she was yelling up, "Mine's bigger," but I didn't hear it. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably could have seen it and sucked it, but you brought your fucking family like an idiot.
Oh my God, I ruined the whole fucking
Ruined the whole
weekend.
thing. Dude, you could have been the 75th comic to blow a trans in the comedy condo of Comedy Mothership.
On the 250th anniversary of this country.
75th comedian.
How great would that be on 4th of July to blow an ex-fucking army fucking person?
America.
I'm just sucking it, doing it, fireworks going
Singing
off.
the national anthem.
Nah, nah, nah. Nah.
Dude.
Whoa, Jacob's getting excited.
Dude, Joe Rogan fires his arrow off target because he goes, another comic got blown by a trans in the cuss. What's that? What's happening up in that condo I'm paying for?
All right. Well, I mean, like I was saying, oh my God, that's. I messaged him after I realized, because I was kind of curious. I noticed that the Bonfire account had posted my website on their Twitter with no context, and I was like, did Robert Kelly go back and like talk about us meeting? Like, that's the only thing I could think of why they would randomly post it. And then also the Bonfire account started following me on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I went and listened to like the most recent episode. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna skim through here and try to see where he talks about being in Austin and stuff. Maybe he just kind of mentioned me for a second. And it was such a, oh my God, he messaged me afterwards. Like, so I was like, thank you so much for the shout out. And he messaged me, or he called me and was like, hey, I hope you're not offended by what we said. I was like, dude, I fucking loved it. Like, I can't think of a better compliment is that right there. Like, fan of comedy, knows comedy, super sweet. Like, basically telling me I'm hot. Also, like, props for being a veteran, like having some fun, joking. Like, I can't think of a better way to be introduced to the Bonfire family. So thank you so much, Robert and Big Jay, for all of the kind words. It's really sweet of you all to say that about me. You know, I never thought that I would be where I am today. I always kind of thought I would be a dude, and that I would be a Black Hawk pilot still, and I would still be doing that. And I've just been a fan of comedy since, God, like I was saying, Dane Cook era. Before that, I mean, comedy shows like Family Guy and stuff growing up, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, silly stuff on Adult Swim. Tried to live a life of being a somewhat serious family person, you know, and raised a family and had a house and the white picket fence, dog, everything, and thought I could keep going with that life, and realized something was missing. So I never thought it would be this. And then, of course, like you mentioned, I thought I could keep serving, which is one of the big reasons why I decided to transition at that time, because I didn't want to risk my aviation career. It's so important to me, and service is so important, serving this country, serving my state of Virginia, because I was Virginia Guard. And so it was very devastating to have that all kind of ripped out from under me earlier than I would have wanted. And not because like I got hurt or because of any reason. It was like one day I was fine serving, the next day all of a sudden I'm not, and nothing had changed on my part at that point. Like, I'd already done all the changes, so it was weird just for them to be like, actually, you know what? Bait and switch. Now that you did that thing we said you could do, you're fucked. And so, yeah, I turned to comedy to process it mainly, and also to try to tell my story. I mean, mostly to tell my story was processing, like, through humor I could do privately, but I was worried that people beyond the same liberal circles were not hearing the story of trans military. So that is why I decided to pursue comedy specifically to target Austin and the Rogansphere, not out of hate, but out of admiration of all the laughs they've given me over the years, and to show them that, you know, there's trans people that aren't easily offended and do enjoy some edgy humor and can take the good and take the things that I agree with that come out of some of these people's mouths and still hold them in balance with things I maybe don't agree with. And I think that's life. That is true bipartisanship, right? Is getting along with people from everywhere. And that's very common in the military. Like, you don't serve with people that all think the same. Like, we're all different people from different walks of life. And you have to learn how to get along, and eventually they're your brothers and sisters. So I hope I'm making a good impact here. I hope I'm making a good example for trans people that, I felt like there wasn't representation for the kind of person I am in this space in comedy, but also just in the media as a trans person. Like, not discounting other types of people and their trans experience, but just my own. There's not a lot of patriot, right-leaning, move to the center during the Trump years, trans people who are curious and open-minded. I think that's the big thing, is I'm very interested in learning how people think, which is why I would love to have a conversation with President Trump. I would love to have a conversation with Pete Hegseth. I would love to sit down with Joe Rogan and talk to him about the story of trans military, not to push my comedy persona. Like, I could go on there and not talk about comedy at all. That would be fine. I really just feel like a lot of people, just like Big Jay and Robert were saying, they didn't know that how many people, and that people were being affected by this trans military ban. And it's still up in the courts right now. It's still up for decision on if it's going to stay or not. And there's a chance to save my service, but also save thousands of other patriot veterans, hard workers, people who just want to serve. They're not making it about their identity. They're just making it about, can I serve more effectively? And as we saw with black people, when they integrated black people, when they integrated women, when they integrated gay people and repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, you only get a more cohesive military when it properly represents your citizenry. And when you exclude groups of people for no reason other than we just don't like them, they just make us uncomfortable, because there's no evidence that we make anything worse by being in. In fact, we have 10 years of service proving that it's the direct opposite, which is why the judges in these cases were so confused with the DOJ and the Trump administration saying, no, like, they disrupt unit cohesion, they're non-deployable and all this stuff. And they're like, well, where's the data? Because we have records of these people being kicked out that is contrary to what you all are saying. And that's where it boils down to. It's like, we already have the data. We don't cost more. We don't, all of those things are myth busted. Look at the, I was on the Daily Show with Jordan Klepper with 3 other trans members last year. And we talked about, we were like myth busting trans service. Like, they spend more on Viagra than they do gender affirming care. And I'm of the mindset, like, okay, if that is the problem, just make me pay out of pocket for it. Because that's what I did. I paid out of pocket for everything. Okay, you don't want me using the women's barracks and the women's showers while in uniform? Fine, I'll use the men's. But let me continue serving. Because right now it says I'm disqualified no matter what. Even if I were to adhere to male grooming standards, even if I were to say I was a man while serving, if I were to live basically 2 lives, one in the military and one outside, they're saying because I had a history of gender dysphoria and of transition, I'm permanently disqualified. So I can't even go back and say, okay, well, I'll adhere to whatever rules you want while I'm in. It's like, no, you're just done. Now, is it fair that I would have to do that? No, not really, but I would be willing to if that meant I could keep serving and get my pension and, hopefully see through to more progress. Like, I would be willing to baby step this further, but that's just not what they're giving us. So thank you, Jay, Big Jay and Robert Kelly. Thank you so much for helping get my story out there and just mentioning me like that. Like, that's exactly, like, that was perfect. Because it's fun, it's funny. I would have made half the same jokes, if not more. So don't have to worry about offending me. I'll take any publicity I can get. Because once again, it's not about me. It's about getting the story of transmilitary out there through me. And that's kind of what I'm after. I had just had a podcast come out with Ryan Holiday on the Daily Stoic. I was really proud of that because I listened to him for about a decade. We actually recorded that episode back in January, so it was a lot of anticipation waiting for that to come out. But it did come out, and the reception's been much like any others, pretty mixed. Like, there's a lot of people that appreciate my story, and there's a lot of people that just can't handle the fact that I have a deep voice and that I wear a Jewish star sometimes because I'm converting to Judaism. And unfortunately, they're missing a very good conversation between me and Ryan about Stoicism, about my story, about perseverance, about the obstacle is the way. And I thought it was really powerful. We talked a little bit about my pivot to comedy too, and why. And so if you're interested in anything about my story that maybe you felt like I haven't covered here, please seek out these interviews I do, because I really try not to regurgitate it all here by myself. Plus, when you have an interviewer, you're more likely to talk about things you wouldn't bring up by yourself. So anyway, check that out on the Daily Stoic podcast. It came out July 1st, so it's an episode there. I think it'll be on YouTube soon. It hasn't been released there yet, but it's on all their platforms for audio. And then it's also on, there's clips on Instagram that Ryan and the Daily Stoic accounts posted and collabed with me on. What else? The last couple weeks I've been filming a documentary. It's a feature documentary called Fighting Forward. It's about me and 2 other trans service members, that what happens after, like getting kicked out, and in light of the ban, how do we fight forward? And they're very interested in my story because I think I'm the most bizarre with my pivot to comedy and trying to be in rooms with people that don't necessarily agree with me entirely and being in uncomfortable spaces. And I talked a little bit about this in the documentary when we did an interview, San Diego. I was out there and we did a sit down. And one of the things we brought up was, why do I like to go to these unfriendly rooms, or what people would say or feel like might be unfriendly? Why do I like to be in uncomfortable situations? And it's something that I carried over from the military, but also I think more so from CrossFit. In CrossFit training and like mindset stuff, they talk about like threshold training. So the idea that like when you go to work out, and it's probably in other things, not just CrossFit, but when you go to work out, the adaptations, the things that make you stronger, faster, more endurance, all that stuff happens at the very edges of your ability. So if you think of the thresholds, like you're right at your limit, maybe you're teetering over it a little bit, but you're not going too far past your limit, but you're also not working well within your limit. There's days when that makes sense to do well within your limit, but there's days when you need to hit your threshold, go a little bit beyond. It's in that small percentage of being uncomfortable where you feel like you're reaching just past where you are. You're doing a little bit heavier than you think you can, a couple extra reps. That's where the adaptations happen. That's where the gains happen. And as I like to say, when you're in that little place of being uncomfortable, that's where the good stuff happens. That's where you grow. And whether in fitness or in life. And so while it's can be exhausting, like suiting up mentally to go to these spaces where, I mean, it's still Texas. I go to a lot of rural towns in Texas and do comedy and go to bars and stuff, stop at gas stations while traveling and use the restroom. And like every time I get out, it's like, all right, like pull up your boots and your pants and let's brace yourself, because you really don't know what you're getting. I get a lot of nice people. I also get a lot of stares. I don't know if it's because I'm tall, because they're looking at my tits, or because they suspect I'm trans. I don't know what the reason is. I just know they're staring, and it's hard to tell the difference between that and like they're staring because they think I'm attractive, which I get that too, but men tend to use the same stares, like, oh, that's attractive, or oh, I want to murder it. And so I have a joke. It's like, I can't tell when men are staring if they want to kill me or fuck me or some combination of both. So that's unsettling. And it takes its toll, like constantly putting yourself out there, not only just as a person. I can kind of throw a hat on and just beeline whichever way I'm going. But interviews, going on stage, going out and being very visible, it can wear you down. And so I do have to take a lot of time to myself and just retreat into like my private space here in my home, and also like at like my apartment pool and stuff, and just check out from the constant feeling like you're always on, I guess, because it's not only like on from a social point of like I'm more introverted, so like on as in like I need to be outgoing and I need to ask them questions and make sure I'm being a good conversational, all that stuff, you know. But then there's also the on as if they recognize me, it's like, how am I acting in public? How am I behaving? Is this a good representation of me? And it's not like I'm trying to be someone I'm not. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward. It would be a shame if someone recognized me or was talking to me in an interview and I said something that hurt people or came off the wrong way, or, you know, something that I didn't intend or didn't mean. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like really thinking about what I'm going to say. I'm trying to get more loosey-goosey and not worry so much about that, especially as I shift more into comedy stuff, because I feel like I can't riff and stuff in the moment as much because I'm still under the old feeling of, like last year I just did a lot of like serious media, like New York Times, Washington Post, CNN. You can't do comedic riffs on there. And so I've been trying to like open myself up to being more comfortable to riffing and having fun. But it's tough because I'm also holding a serious conversation in the balance sometimes. They're asking me about my life and trans military and stuff. But I'm getting better at it. And I think I'm just saying that it's a lot. It's a lot. I was talking to my ex-wife, who's my best friend. I consider her my platonic partner. I was talking to her today, and 3 years ago, I hadn't started transition yet. I was living in Virginia, and I was working a job, and I was flying helicopters in the Army. So from 3 years ago to today, I started pursuing a new religion, Judaism. I started transition to pursuing a new gender. I moved out into an apartment temporarily in Virginia while my wife and I figured out how to process everything. It was a loving reason. It wasn't like being upset with each other, but it was difficult to make that adjustment while living together. So that helped a lot, moving out. And then spending a lot of time in Austin. Well, actually, no, before that, right? Like the crash rumor happened. At the same time, I realized I was getting kicked out of the military. Then I started doing all the media, telling my story. Then I went to Austin and got on Kill Tony the first time. And then I spent a few weeks here. Then I spent a few months here. Then I sold my home in Virginia, moved here. Then I quit my job, my day job. So I lost 2 jobs. One of them I quit, but lost 2 jobs, sold my home, moved across the country from Virginia to Texas. It's a lot. It's a lot. I still wake up sometimes, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have my house anymore. Oh yeah, I don't have my garage or a whole life I used to have. I mean, I still have my family. I can still talk to them. I mean, not my extended family, not like my parents as much or my brother, but my sisters and my ex-wife, like I said, my daughter. We hang out all the time. But filming this documentary, it's really recently I've realized just how much I've gone through, how much I've been put through, and how much I've put myself through in the last 3 years. On top of that, surgeries, face surgery, hair transplant, breast augmentation, hormones. High highs and low lows. We'll just say that. But it would be a shame if I was only remembered for a person that didn't do that thing, didn't crash into that airliner. It'd be a shame if I was remembered as the person who got kicked out of the military and that was it. I mean, maybe it's cheesy, but there's that line in Independence Day that the president in the show or in the movie says, like, we will not go quietly into the night. And I will not. I'm going to go out swinging. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. And I don't mean suicidal. I mean just like, I'm not going to go out on my knees. I'm not going to go out hiding in private. Just, they woke a sleeping giant. And I'm going to take over Austin. I'm going to take over the world will not soon forget Jo Ellis, the tranny who became a comedian. Anyway, before I get too emotional and start tearing up over recounting my life the last 3 years, onward and forward. Upcoming dates, we have July 16th, Friendly Fire with me, your host, Jo Ellis. Please come out. It'll be a good time. Last time we had Kim Congdon on. That was a great time. We also, and that's up on YouTube, by the way. You can watch it now. We had Kim Congdon. We had Jamie Lee Simmons on there. And then we also had, why am I blank? Oh, Miles Johnson, which I love Miles. He's so funny. So we had them on. So go check out episode 2 of Friendly Fire. It's on this channel. There's just a playlist you can go to, and it's got all of the segments split up, but it's also got the full episode if you want to watch it from start to finish. It would mean a lot if you had checked it out. And then also, if you're in Austin, please come out to Friendly Fire, July 16th at 10 p.m. Creek in the Cave, Asana Mod, Timely Rain, Tony Scar. It's going to be a great time. We've got some new segment ideas, so I'm really excited. I'm also going to be doing some topical headline jokes like I like to do. We're dialing in some technical things and trying to figure out some things. I got a bigger team this time. I've got an executive producer now, and so we're really making some cool stuff happen. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a good time. If you like old school late night, this is the best thing because it's old school late night with a twist of live comedy club vibes, and so you get a little bit of that spontaneity, a little less produced when it comes to what people say, so it can be a little uncensored and improvise some really fun things, but it's also scripted in some parts, so that way we have a pretty fun show. There's a live band. We had a live band last time. That was really fun. We're only expanding that this time, so it's gonna be a bigger band. And that really made a difference. I was really happy with that. So Robert Carroll is the band leader. He's heading that up. He's going to play kind of like a Doc Severson thing. So if you ever watch Old Johnny Carson, there was a band leader that was kind of like a character that would get bounced off of. And then also I'm toying with the warm-up act being kind of like a sidekick as well on stage. So this week we're going to have Lingo Smith because Simply Courtney wasn't available. But otherwise it'll be Simply Courtney for August. And if there's a September show, there will be. But we'll see. It's going to be a good time. The show seems to be received well. It's bringing in a lot of traffic to my YouTube channel, which is exciting. People seem to like it. Someone said they thought they were watching Conan, which made me feel pretty good. Or maybe they were just saying I'm tall and I look like Conan O'Brien. But anyway, so I will be in Plano, Texas, July 22nd with my dad, Jason Ellis. So that'll be really fun. Check out our skate video. We made a skate video that was really fun when we were in Tyler, Texas. But it's so cool getting to feature for Jason Ellis. I really appreciate him letting me open for him at his shows. This will be my third show with him. Plano, Texas, July 22nd. I believe it's at 7:30. So get your tickets. It's going to be at Mic Drop Comedy in Plano. So micdropcomedy.com, I believe. Or through jasonellis.com. His website's got a link to it as well. And then, of course, my website, joellisreally.com, has a link to the tickets as well. So just click on shows and with Jason Ellis in Plano. So Plano's in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. So come on out. If you're anywhere in Dallas, we'd love to see you at that show July 22nd. What else is going on? I might be going to Salt Lake City in August. I might try to hit up Wise Guys while I'm out there. Maybe do an open mic or try to get on a show or something in August. I'm not entirely sure about that yet, so we'll see. I've never been to Salt Lake City. And then lastly, I think I might swing out to Virginia to try to grab some of my stuff and move it here. I put some stuff in storage when I moved out here because I wasn't sure what I'd want to take out here. Some guitars, a keyboard, a bunch of old video games, retro video games and stuff. And some of that stuff I wish I had access to, especially the musical instruments. So I think I might try to go out there and drive all that stuff back. It's like 22 hours, so that's a heck of a drive, but I might do like a one-way U-Haul. I've done worse. So that might be fun. I mentioned briefly the documentary filming. My sister was in town for that, which was really cool, my younger sister. And we went to a steakhouse. We went to Jay Carver's in Austin. And let me just say, that was one of the best steaks I've had in a while. And really good service, really kind people. So shout out to Jay Carver's. Go check him out if you would love a good steak. And then we went across the street to The Betty, which is a cocktail lounge, and people watched because there's some characters that come through there. It's like a weird mix of college kids and tech bros. So it was fun. It was fun to watch. They had some good music playing in there and really good cocktails. I think I enjoyed the Pink Pony Club. You know, stereotypical white girl, basic white biatch right here. That's really all I wanted to be. I didn't want to transition to anything crazy, just basic white bitch. Pumpkin spice lattes, Uggs. Yeah, it's cool. So check out Jay Carver's across the street. Check out The Betty. Get a nice cocktail. And, we also went shooting for the documentary too. That was really fun. Shooting range. Difficult conversations. Then we tried to go to see the bats under the bridge on South Congress. We saw a little bit, but they didn't really do the big fly out thing. But some good filming. I think we're about wrapped with that documentary. As far as filming, hopefully me. They did ask for a huge cache of old photos, which also put a hamper on my emotions trying to gather all that stuff and send it to him. But I think we're getting close. I'm still shopping my memoir around. My agent's still shopping that around to try to see if we can get a buyer for it, which would be great. In the meantime, I'm just working on that in the background, writing more comedy. I've done 20-minute sets. So I'm at 20 minutes. I would say 15 tight, 10 tighter, of course. But I can do 20 no problem now. And I was nervous because I'd never done that much before. And I recently I headlined a show where I got to do 20 minutes. And that was really cool. to work on that and realized that I had 20 minutes of material. I didn't even get through all of my jokes. I have other jokes too. I just couldn't find a way to fit them in the set that made sense. So I might play around with that set and manipulate some jokes in there and rearrange some stuff, because I didn't touch on everything that I have. But that was really cool. Like, I was able to do 20 minutes, and it's funny because I get tired of hearing myself talk. Like at the 10-minute mark, I'm like, ugh, like I'm gonna make them keep listening to me for another 10 minutes. It's so funny. But it was fun. It was a good time. And I made some fans. So I invited them out to my show. Thank you all so much. That's it for now, folks. Follow me on socials. Check out my shows. July 16th in Austin. July 22nd, Plano, Texas. More to come as I book more. I also want to try to do something in New York City very soon. So if you know anybody at any clubs in New York City where I could get some time on stage, that would be amazing. I've done an open mic there one time at St. Mark's, but I would love to get on like a showcase or something instead of paying for an open mic in New York City. But I'm excited I'll be out there as well this year, I'm sure. That's all for now, folks. Bye-bye.